despite its rather simple presentation. You got a man and his guitar and some lovely string instruments, and that's the extent of it. But it's the weight of the narrative and the knowledge of the man's biography that kind of makes it chilling in its own way. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. It's Andy, it's John, and it's your old friend, music. What will it come in the form of? I don't know, but John does. John, what are we listening to today?
Well, we're going back to listen to another track from our dear friend, Mr. Nick Drake.
Oh, okay. The beauty of Mr. Drake's voice and his acoustic guitar. Simple, but gorgeous. All right. Let me get myself in the right headspace, because I know
Yeah.
it's always heavy times when we're listening to Nick Drake. What's the track by him this go round?
Fruit Tree.
Fruit Tree. Okay. Well, let me go see what this tree bears, and I will come back and let you know what I think.
Fingers crossed it's not Sharon Throat.
Yes, or durian. Lo and behold, we get a Nick Drake song starting with beautiful acoustic guitar. Who would have thunk?
Famous but a fruit tree.
Interesting way he started it off, though, like all jokes aside about it being an acoustic song by Nick Drake. It was almost like he was just fingering around through these really pretty notes, and then all of a sudden he just happened to stumble into this beautiful melody. Just like oop, ass backwards into a lovely sound. Which, I mean, you hand this man an acoustic guitar and watch the magic happen. That's sort of the vibe I get every time I listen to Nick Drake. Just really pretty stuff. Let's take that back.
Famous but a fruit tree, so very unsound, it can never flourish till its stalk is in the ground. So men of fame.
Ooh, those. God damn, that symphonic quality of like the strings coupled with his like untainted pure voice and that guitar playing is gorgeous. Fucking beautiful. Taking that back because I want to hear those strings crawl into frame.
Sound, it can never flourish till its stalk is in the ground. So men of fame can never find a way till time has flown far from their dying day. Forgotten while a year, remembered for a while, a much updated ruin from a much outdated style. Life is but a memory, happened long ago, theater full of sadness, for a long forgotten show. Seems so easy just to let it go on by, till you stop and wonder why you never wondered why. Safe in the womb of an everlasting night, you find the darkness can give the brightest light. Safe in your place deep in the earth, that's when they'll know what you really want. Forgotten while you're here, remembered for a while. A much updated ruin from a much outdated style.
Oh my gosh. Forgotten while you're here, remembered for a while, a much updated ruin from a much outdated style. I think that's and comparing like fame to a fruit tree and like it won't flourish until it's in the ground or whatever, or I don't, I'm paraphrasing here and I'm also assuming I'm catching all of these lyrics, but there's something really interesting about that. It's almost it's kind of morbid because like this, when you know the narrative of Nick Drake and his, I don't know if I would call it struggle to achieve. I don't know if he was aiming to achieve fame. But I know that he didn't in life as much as he did posthumously. Um and that's really interesting and incredible. It's like incredible bit of foreshadowing and almost as if he had a time machine or was aware of his own fate before it had completely unfolded. And it's kind of like gives you goosebumps a little bit when you know what you know about the guy, and you hear this song. It's like, oh man, gives you the heebie-jeebies a little bit. Like he was looking into his own life's palantir and seeing what was to come.
Fame is but a fruit tree, so very unsound, it can never flourish till its stalk is in the ground. So men of fame can never find a way till time has flown far
It's gorgeous.
from their dying day. Fruit tree, no one knows you but the rain in the air. Don't you worry, they'll stand and stare when you're gone. Fruit tree, open your eyes to another year. They'll all know that you were here when you're gone.
They will all know that you were here when you're gone. and that's like how he dismounts. And if that isn't just a like it's almost like he's a prophet, his own fate's prophet. Um, really interesting stuff. It is the whole thing is really prophetic, and that makes it unsettling because you when you know what happened to him and everything. It's just pretty, but unavoidably melancholy. I mean, the whole sound. If this was just instrumental, it would um it would have that sort of downtrodden, sad feel to it. Uh but my God, it's gorgeous. And another perfect example of like if art can make you feel, then that is successful art. It has done its job. And this did make me feel a lot of things. Unsettling, uh, sad, woeful. Um, I don't know. There's this like unfulfilled feeling too to it. It was really beautiful, and I'd love, given the subject matter of this, I'd love to learn more about it from John. I'd also love to discuss those gorgeous strings that accompanied him in the toward the latter bit. It seemed like the higher strings, I'm assuming it was either the violin, possibly a viola, was almost taking like more of a lead, as the other lower registered strings kind of, held it down beneath that sound. Really gorgeous. Such a pretty goddamn tune. Yeah, let's get back to John and chop this one up.
Juno and the Paycock is back. So you've had to listen to A Fruit Tree by Mr. Drake. What do you make of it?
Well, quite a bit actually. Lo and behold, it starts with this gorgeous acoustic guitar picking. And it begins almost as if Drake is like improvising or filtering through musical thoughts that then blossom into this, constructed, contrived thing. But it just for a few seconds, it kind of feels like he's feeling it out,
Yeah.
in a really good way. It makes it all sound that much more organic. So I thought that was actually kind of cool. Like he just stumbled into this beautiful song a few seconds into twiddling around on the neck. And so he picks through this delicate, beautiful acoustic guitar melody, and he begins to compare fame to a fruit tree. And as the verse unfurls, we get this beautifully woeful via like just strings in general. But it's one of the higher strings that kind of takes the first chair in this quartet or whatever we have going on here. Because I believe as the song progresses, I'm catching lower registered symphonic instruments as well, like a cello or something like that. So this is all kind of, unleashed with these broad extended notes in conjunction with Drake's guitar picking and his vocals. And I catch a stanza of lyrics that really stick out to me. Forgotten while you're here, remembered for a while, a much updated ruin from a much outdated style, I think. And it sounds eerily like a morbid self-assessment or even self-deprecating in a way. It's enough to give you the chills when you hold the lyrics up against what we know of the man and how his life would play out, as well as the posthumous reverence he would receive. So all of this is going through my head as he's singing these lyrics that are almost like I think in the video I said it was as if he had a glimpse into the Palantir. Like he saw it was as if he saw his own life played out and wrote it to song before it kind of unfolded, which is again weird, eerie, kind of goosebump inducing. And as the track progresses and Drake's continued contemplative lyrics continue down this dark path, the strings become more theatrically urgent and pronounced. But this feeling is short-lived with one great wave crashing on the shoreline before it retreats into the like with the tide pulling it back to sea. And he repeats that bit of lyrics I quoted a moment ago. Again, he harkens back to the this comparison of fame to a fruit tree, conveying that fame can't really be cemented or at the very least truly assessed until those possibly worthy of it are dead and in the ground. Which is exactly, so far as I've been informed through you, how his narrative unfolded, which is super weird. He dismounts this last stanza of lyrics: fruit tree, open your eyes to another year. They'll all know that you were here when you're gone. As he slowly picks and winds his way to the end of the song, and that's a hell of a fucking dismount. It's almost like he's reassuring himself, like he's talking to himself. And I don't know if that's born of some like weird knowledge of the future or if it's born of hope, like he hopes that this is how it plays out for him. Either way, it's sad. It's really sad, actually.
Yeah.
Because if you it then sort of shines a light on that he could have possibly been contemplating his exit strategy pretty early, or at least earlier than like the day of or the moment of. This is something that he probably had been poring over and marinating over and kind of contemplating for a while, which is all that much more sad, right? That he struggled. It just shines light on how long he probably struggled with do I or don't I. So there isn't much to say outside of what I've already outlined, though there is this a great deal one can feel in the wake of listening to this song. It's riddled with melancholy and just a touch of unsettling foreshadowing. The song honestly left me conflicted. There's no arguing against the beauty of it, but the weight of it is a lot to experience, which in a way stifles my pleasure in having listened to it. If I was ignorant to his story and heard this, maybe I could just appreciate it for its raw beauty. But there's this added dimension of like, I guess the opposite of blissful ignorance, right? That kind of rears its head or butts in and takes away from my liking it for what it is, instead of like just being ponderous of like, oh my god, this is so interesting and intriguing. So it makes it more of a that kind of experience than it does a I really loved how beautiful the guitar was, or oh my god, the strings added so much. I'm distracted now by the narrative of it all, and the weight of the knowledge that I have that you've given me about the man himself. So it isn't to say that the beauty of the song didn't have its effect on me, and it clearly did. It's just an odd cocktail of thoughts and emotions I'm kind of grappling with as the musical smoke clears. I've said this a million times, and it remains true for me. If a song or art can make you feel, then that has to be a significant indication of it being effective, successful art. So to me, this kind of exemplifies that. It left me feeling things and thinking things, despite its rather simple presentation. You got a man and his guitar and some lovely string instruments, and that's the extent of it. But it's the weight of the narrative and the knowledge of the man's biography that kind of makes it chilling in its own way.
Yeah, thanks for that. And there's a couple of things there to pick up on, and I'll do what I can to help. Just to say from the outset that we have now listened to Riverman, Day is Done, and your 2-for-1 Place to Be in Pink Moon.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the 5th track. Playlists. So more about his life and what Andy referenced there on previous episodes. So please go back and watch them if you haven't. We will just concentrate on this one for this episode. Yeah, just my 2 penneth worth, very briefly. You're right, in a way, with Nick Drake. There's this thing. I stumbled across his work years ago, and listened to it first few times and think, wow, this is amazing. And then you get into it and discover about him. And because he wasn't around that long, you can get a really good snapshot of his life. And there is this weighted emotional impact from his songs, which you wouldn't get with other artists. You probably do get to an extent with someone like Elliott Smith and people like that as well. You know, it just has that thing about it, and they're both real personal kind of music as well. When you experience the mood, you feel like he's, you know, communicating direct to you. And like you said before about artwork, I think the whole point really of art in a way is to communicate. You know, whether you're communicating a feeling or an idea or an atmosphere or whatever, if you can communicate something, pop something into the other person's head or heart that wasn't there before, then you've done your job. You know, whether that's let's go and, you know, invade Poland, or let's go and you know, paint the town red. These are very different things, but it's still, you know, art. The only surviving relative is his sister, Gabrielle Drake, who is an actress and pretty successful. She has maintained that he was pretty happy-go-lucky and carefree into the final year or so of his life. That's not quite backed up by other people saying that it was a steady deterioration of his mood and his sort of like his insular quality. But you know, who knows? Who knows? It's interesting though to sort of, you can't help but put yourself in his point of view from what he's written here when you listen to it, and that's part of the impact. So this is the penultimate track on his debut album, Five Leaves Left, 1969. Which we discussed at length and we did Rhythm Act. Just to recap, Nick Drake, vocals, acoustic guitar. For this song, additional musicians. So Robert Kirby, his friend from university, string arrangement, unknown string players. And then it's also got another person here called Uncredited. And they did the oboe, the bass oboe, and the English horn on this as well.
Oh,
so there's the higher register.
interesting.
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
So from the website Mackin Music, he does an old article on how Five Leaves Left, you know, changed his life and listened to it, whatever. And just into this, he says, and then out of nowhere, Nick Drake hits us with Fruit Tree. This song is just perfect. It starts with a plucked arpeggio that is trying to find a rhythm. The song then falls into the riff that holds on tightly to the chords and never loses grip.
Exactly.
So it's the same thing as you were saying. It's like, oh, hang on a minute, I've got an
idea.
idea. Yeah.
Falls right.
The strings and oboe decorate this tune perfectly with a delicate touch that allows the listener to gaze right into the core of the song's beauty. Life is but a memory, happened long ago. Theatre full of sadness for a long forgotten show. The song pours out so many different emotions as it pulses towards the surging, string-fueled false cadence. It resolves into a delicate outro where Drake prophetically declares that the fruit tree are something that people would know that you were here when you are gone. As this poor man went almost completely unnoticed in his lifetime, his death brought the respect and fame that he could only have dreamed of about during that life.
Yeah.
There's another little bit from Seven Ponds blog. It says, few songs captured the artist's life as perfectly as Nick Drake's Fruit Tree. Drake's own life was filled with anguish as he struggled with depression and addiction, eventually consuming himself entirely at just 26 years old. Despite his tormented history, Fruit Tree is unlike any other song in the genre. While it's true the lyrics have a clear, cynical edge, the song actually captures the beauty of a life dedicated to art. When Drake sings, safe in a womb of an everlasting night, you find the darkness that can give the brightest light. He encapsulates what it means to dedicate yourself to something fully, even at the price of recognition. He also embraces the troubled thoughts that may have been as they wander through life, painting them as beautiful in their own right. This is a song for those who are struggling with their own purpose in life, or have lost someone vibrant and artistic, which again foreshadows his own ending. Fruit Tree is about the wish to be adored while you're alive, but ultimately finding greater meaning after death. In one sense, it's the cliche of a young artist burning out before he fades away, but the song goes beyond that simplistic meaning. It describes the bittersweet feeling of being recognized only after you had died. In this sense, it parallels Drake's own life, being that he was never recognized for his work until long after he had died. The song feels like a glimpse into his own future. Drake sings, "Safe in your place deep in the earth, that's when they'll know what you are really worth." Like many Drake songs, this one creates an atmosphere that leaves listeners completely captivated. The lyrics have a heavy feel to them, yet the music is light and hopeful. It's this bittersweet mix that makes Nick Drake songs ideal for remembering someone you love. The darkness really can give the brightest light. So I thought it was a nice little write-up there.
Which is
Lyrics.
that's the quote, right?
Yeah.
About darkness and light. I remember catching bits in that. It's jogging my memory from having listened to it. Yeah.
Well, we'll go into the lyrics right now.
There you go.
Fame is but a fruit tree, so very unsound. It can never flourish till its stalk is in the ground. So men of fame can never find a way till time has flown far from their dying day. Forgotten while you're here, remembered for a while, a much updated ruin from a much outdated style. Life is but a memory, happened long ago, theatre full of sadness for a long forgotten show. Seems so easy just to let it go on by till you stop and wonder why you never wondered why. Safe in the womb of an everlasting night, you find that darkness can give the brightest light. Safe in your place deep in the earth, that's when they'll know what you were really worth. Forgotten while you're here, remembered for a while, a much updated ruin from a much outdated style. Fame is but a fruit tree, so very unsound it can never flourish till its stalk is in the ground. So men of fame can never find a way till time has flown far from their dying day. Fruit tree, no one knows you but the rain and the air. Don't you worry, they'll stand and stare when you've gone. Fruit tree, open your eyes to another year. They'll all know that you were here when you're gone. And just to put this in perspective, he signed with Island Records while he was still at Cambridge University and was still just 20 years old when this album was recorded. So I don't know when he wrote this song, obviously prior to that. I don't know how many years prior to that, but it shows an astounding level of maturity. I think about what was going through my head when I was 20, and it sure as hell went shit like this. And also, in terms of performance, Drake tracked live, singing and playing alongside the string section without any use of overdubbing. So this is one take shit.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So yeah, we do go through the same things we do with most songs we listen to. Nick Drake, it's like it's beauty, it's sadness, it's both. It's incredibly well written and crafted, and there's a real quality to his tone in both his guitar and his voice.
Yeah.
And shit, I wish he was still knocking out stuff today.
Yeah.
It's similar. He'd be a similar age to my father, actually. Same sort of time. So yeah, much missed, but I'm just appreciative that we Ireland, to their credit, didn't get kick out his masters or whatever when he didn't make any success. They kept hold of them, and they've actually been pretty tasteful in terms of regurgitating his stuff in really nice packages.
Good,
it's
yeah.
not like everything.
Glad they're not exploiting that.
Yeah, so they've done a really good job because they could have easily just been there because 5,000 copies in the sort of 10 years from release to afterwards. So yeah. But anyway, thanks for listening to this, Andy. I should wrap
Thank
things
you.
up.
Another great Nick Drake song.
That's Nick Drake. So, folks out there, tell us what you think. What do you reckon this one? If you like this, do hit the like button. Drop me some comments and let us know what you think of Fruit Tree, Nick Drake, 5 Leagues Left, the whole kabang, whatever you want to put in there. Fine. Gabrielle Drake. She was in Crossroads, I believe. The reboot, perhaps. I'm sure she's done other stuff. I remember as quite a striking lady, but that's about it. Yeah, whatever you want. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And help support this channel. We really appreciate everyone who does come on board. Tickets, please. That being said, thanks so much for watching. And we'll see all of you for the next episode of The Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.